Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so grateful for you to be here. Today, we are going to dive into the topic around okay, if you are somebody who is scared to start over again, maybe you've been in a long term relationship, maybe you've been in a long term situationship, and you're like, I don't want to start over with someone, it feels like too much work. And maybe, just maybe, you're a little scared. And that's okay. It's okay if you're scared. But I'm here to give you this big sister energy that you've never had. And there might be some loving hard truths in this episode. But I really want you to listen with an open heart and open mind, because if you're someone who is struggling to move on from someone and you know in your heart that this is not the relationship for you, but there's just something inside of you that keeps fighting and keeps fighting, this is for you. Okay? So, first of all, look. Trust me, I know how hard it can be to leave a long-term relationship. I have been in many long-term relationships and I stayed longer than I should have. And I can imagine that there's probably factors like family, okay, whether you have kids or not with this person, there's always that factor of family. Maybe you're dating somebody and you absolutely loved their family and you're like, fuck, if I leave them, that means that I don't get to see their family as often. And maybe you've created really great bonds with their family. I know how challenging that can be. And the fear of, well, what are they going to think of me if I break off with this person? If I break it off with this person? And while those are all valid, and yes, you're going to miss them. And yes, you created beautiful relationships with them. If those relationships, these extended relationships of the relationship that you're in, if they're meant to be a part of your life still, they will come into your next chapter. I promise you. Let me tell you why. Okay. My bestie, we were friends before I dated her family members. Yes, plural. That's another episode. You guys are probably like, what is happening? Anyway, my bestie and I, we have stayed best friends after I broke up with her cousin. And we just never let that get in between our friendship. One, because she's my bestie. I don't really have an explanation for it. But we've just like, this is what I mean is like when you're like super aligned with somebody and you're like soulmates, okay? Now, given we were soulmates before I started dating her family members, we were friends before that, so that does play a role with it. But I can tell you with other people's families, I've stayed in touch with them and it's been great. It's served its purpose. And those people are going to see you for who you really are, right? And if they're like your true people who are supposed to be with you, they're going to be with you for the rest of your life if that's what it's meant for, right? But don't stay in a relationship just because you want to stay in touch with their family. You can still do that if it's appropriate and if it's meant to be. Like, don't force it, because sometimes we can think, oh my God, these are my people and I don't want to lose them. I'm not going to end the relationship because of that. And when you end the relationship, you also might see that, damn, these are actually not my people, right? Because their attitude might change towards you. And understandably sometimes, right? I know for me, I don't know, I like to consider myself as somebody who's loyal. And if somebody close to me has broken up with someone else, yeah, I'm not going to be rude to them, but I'm also not going to go out of my way to keep them involved and engage with them if that other person is like, hey, this person did something not so great to me, or I don't want you to be in contact with them. I'm going to fully understand and respect that. And I don't think that's toxic. I think that's just, this is a personal opinion, but to me, loyalty it's crucial. It's crucial. So there's two sides to this, right? I get when I know there's some family members with my past ex that had stopped talking to me and removed me from social media and all that stuff. And I was just like, yeah, cool. That's okay. I get it. And your loyalty is with that person, and I respect that so much. No hard feelings at all, right? But the point of this is like, the people who are meant for you, they're going to come with you into your next chapter, okay? You don't need to stay in the relationship to keep people close. You don't need to stay in things to keep people close, because And that's the thing. And this is why, okay, this is honestly one of the reasons why I made this episode, is because you legitimately do not know what is meant for you outside of this relationship that you're staying in that is past the expiry date. You have no idea what's fucking meant for you at all. And the very thing that you might need to do is leave the relationship to actually receive those things. Right? And what I mean by that is maybe you need to leave this relationship to get the job opportunity. Maybe you need to leave the relationship to actually receive the person that you're meant to be with. Obviously, duh. Maybe you need to leave the relationship to discover this part of yourself that is yearning to be unleashed. Okay, maybe you need to leave this relationship because there's a whole friend circle of your soul family that is waiting for you. And that's the connection that you're actually craving for. There's just so many different possibilities of what could happen on the other side of you leaving the relationship. And now, by the way, I'm not telling you to break up with anybody. You know your situation better than I do, but this is literally for the episode of somebody. This is literally for the person who is like, yeah, I'm definitely staying in something that I know I'm not supposed to be in. Okay, so this is the person I'm talking to. Not the person who's unsure. Or maybe it is the person who's unsure and they're like, damn, I needed to hear this. You know, you'll know if this is for you. Trust me. With my superpowers, you will intuition by that. You'll be able to understand if this is for you or not. So you don't know what's on the other side of leaving something that you're not supposed to be in anymore. And just because you're not supposed to be in it anymore, it doesn't mean that you made the wrong decision of being with this person. It doesn't mean that the relationship was wrong. We all have seasons for certain things, and people serve certain purposes in our lives. A lot of our relationships are big teachers for us. I know for myself, you will hear me talk about a lot of personal stories because I think it's important to share those things so that people can know that I'm a fucking human being, and trust me, I can relate. But I went through one of the most deepest heartbreaks about 3 years ago, and it is the one thing I think that literally, it shook me so fucking hard, and I wasn't expecting it to, that I had to learn how to love myself on a deeper level. I had to learn how to go from being anxiously attached to being securely attached. Okay? And let me tell you, on the other side of that, it is fucking bliss. It's not perfect, but it is bliss to know that you can feel grounded and in control of your emotions and have control over certain things. And I don't mean to, I'm not saying, oh, you have to be like a control freak and control everything. But there are certain things that we can control. And when we know what those things are and when we know what those things are not, and we have the distinction between those two, it really does make life a lot easier, because the things that you cannot control, you learn to give it up to God, you learn to give it up to the universe, and you focus on the things that you can. And actually, when you focus on the things that you can control, you become a co-creator in your life. It actually brings a sense of more control, because when you're trying to control something that you can't control, that could leave you fucking spiraling. Okay? I know some of you are going to relate to that, because you wouldn't be listening to this episode if you couldn't. But on the other side of that, there's just so much for you. And you just don't even know it, because you think right now that this is what it's supposed to be, or that all relationships are supposed to be like this. And they're not, okay? We're literally being sold a fucking lie by the majority of the general population, who are married and in these unhealthy relationships, and people are just being like, oh, this is just how it's supposed to be. And it's actually not. And you want to know why? It's because I used to think this too. I'm like, oh, yep, this is how it's supposed to be, based on what I grew up with, what I saw. And it's actually not, because, and I'm so grateful for entering entrepreneurship and working with different coaches, because pretty much all of my mentors that I've had and my therapists that I've had, they have really healthy, loving relationships with their partners, and they're able to have hard conversations. They've gone through rough patches with their partners, but the way that they repair and work through it is just so different than the average person. And You might be staying in this relationship thinking like, oh, this is just how it's supposed to be. And if you make that decision of that's how it's supposed to be, then yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. But you can also make the decision of, actually, I deserve more. Actually, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Because if something so deep in your heart is telling you, like, this does not feel right anymore, you have to listen to that. And I cannot stress that enough. You're going to know the difference between this is not for me anymore and the difference between I love my partner and I'm so devoted to them and we're going through a rough patch and we have to work through this. There's a complete difference. I am telling you from personal experience. And so you have to be able to decipher between those two, because if not, your whole life is going to pass you by and you're going to be like, what the fuck? I just spent the rest of my life with somebody that like I knew that I should have left however many years ago. And you don't want that to be you. You don't want to wake up one day feeling like you missed out on having true love, or you missed out on like, I don't know, like even, or like you missed out on like your single life. Like, I know so many people are like, they want to find their person, and trust me, I get it. And we need companion, we need love. I'm saying this from personal experience. But there's also something so fucking beautiful about being single. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I love it. There's obviously parts of me where, like, I do want to find my person. But my solitude, the peace that I have right now, being single, all the time that I have to myself, it's like, when I think about when I want a family and a partner, yes, that excites me, and I'm like, yes, I'm open to receiving it. I'm ready. And at the same time, I'm also thanking God. Thank you so much for giving me so much time to discover myself, so much time for me to do the inner work and to heal certain woundings that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was with somebody or if I had a family. And you can still do those things, don't get me wrong, but it can bring about different challenges because like, your attention could be scattered based on your family dynamics, whatever it is, right? And my attention is scattered, but just in like different ways. Like, it's scattered to my business, it's scattered to my work, it's scattered to just like different things, right? And there's something really beautiful about having this time, and I call it like the preparation season of what is coming for you, what is coming for you. And if you're in something that is no longer serving you, and you're not giving yourself the gift of that preparation season of, hey, maybe I need to just actually be on my own and discover myself and have fun and go out, go to concerts and hang out with my girlfriends or hang out with my guy friends and just explore, travel. In every experience, there is a miracle waiting for you, whether that's just meeting a random person who made your day, because that is a miracle too. Okay, some people don't even get that. And it's so important to see life like that there's miracles in every day, okay? So you can meet somebody who's meant to change your life, whether that be a friend or a romantic relationship. And maybe that person you're meeting, you wouldn't have met them if you were in that relationship, right? Because maybe this relationship is keeping you stuck and you're being controlled and manipulated, or maybe it's not that either, and maybe it's just come to an end where you guys are just like fucking roommates. I cannot tell you, this frustrates me so much, as you can see in my body language. I cannot tell you how many couples that I have worked with where they have normalized becoming roommates. Okay, guys, if I can get one through your head, it's not it, okay? It's not, we should not be normalizing this, because love can change over the years, don't get me wrong, okay? Love can change over the years, but you ever see those movies, or just even if you're out, that old couple who grew old together and you just see that they're so in love with each other, right? We've at least seen this once in our life, or we know a couple who's still in love and you can just see it in their eyes and the way that they treat each other, right? What makes you think that's not possible for you? And it's not by luck. It is by listening to your internal body signals when it comes to love, okay? Yes, these couples are making decisions every day to love each other over and over again. And this is what I mean. This is the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with and make that decision over and over again of, do I want to love this person over and over again? Do I want to love, and when I say love this person, do I want to love the different versions of this person that person's going to become over a lifespan of time? Because we are ever evolving. And if you are not able to commit to somebody, and this is the thing, people get so scared about commitment. It makes me laugh sometimes because people get so scared about commitment because they're like, oh, I'm going to be with this one person for the rest of my life. And it's, no, you're not. We're constantly changing and becoming different people. And think about that. We're constantly changing, becoming different people. Yes, we might be, and this is the gap I see. This is where the commitment piece is like, you're going to be with that one person physically. They're going to have the same physical body, but you're not going to have the same person on an emotional, on a spiritual, on an energetic level, because people are changing and ever evolving. And this is another thing, is like, you have to choose so wisely of who you're going to end up with. Because if you end up with somebody who is not willing to invest in themselves and their self-growth and really focus on improving their life on a constant, regular, daily basis, people, like I said, people are changing and evolving, or I should say changing. Maybe not everybody evolves, but you want to be with the person who is placing intention on the person that they are becoming and the person who they are. Because some people are not having that intention. They don't have that intention, and they can stay complacent in life. Sometimes look back at some people and you can see that they're doing the same thing that they were doing 10 years ago. And that's fine. But I just don't believe that people are actually happy doing the same thing for 10 years and not evolving. And so this is what I mean, is you have to choose the person really well of who you want to be with. Are they actually making those intentional choices about their life, about their health, about their mindset, about their body, about their energetics, like all of those things. Okay, and even paying attention to, are they paying attention to their friend circles? Are they paying attention to what they're surrounding themselves with, what they're consuming? Because these things matter. They matter. They're going to matter. They're going to matter in 10 years, because what you are creating right now is just a smaller, I don't even want to say a smaller version, but it's just a different version of what you're going to be like in 10 years. And so do you want to stay in something where somebody is complacent and not willing to do the work? And maybe they're doing the work on themselves, but they're not doing the work in the relationship. Or maybe there's just so many different scenarios that could be happening for you right now. And I just want you to ask yourself this question of, if you really know this person really well and you're like, okay, in 10 years, if they become 10 different versions, and you can like maybe kind of predict what those versions are going to be, are those versions of themselves someone that you are willing to stay committed to for those next 10 years? You gotta ask yourself these questions, because you're not just choosing a partner, especially if you want to create a family. You're choosing the parent of your children. And that matters. It matters if you want to create a different lineage from what you came from. It matters if you want to pass down healthy habits, healthy belief systems. It matters. And I need you to take this seriously, because I've seen so many people get themselves into situations, and sometimes the situations I'm just like, I'm not blaming them, but I'm just like, whoa, it just blows my mind that some people are in certain situations, and it doesn't have to be that way, but they think that there's no other way. There's no way out. There's no way to repair the situation, and there is. And we all have choices in this, right? And so every choice that you make, whether you're making the choice to stay or leave, you are not, if you make the choice to stay, you're not going to know what's on the other side for you. I am so tired. I don't know if you can see my eyes, but I'm like, oh my God. I gotta wrap this episode up because I gotta go to sleep soon. Excuse me. Alright. How are we at? Another thing is you cannot let your fear take over your mind and keep you complacent in the relationship. A big reason why people stay in relationships is for financial things. They don't think that they're going to find somebody to love them again, which is bizarre because why would somebody not love you? Do you know how many people there are on this earth? And you think there's not one person out there that's going to love you? If you're listening to this, sorry, I'm like not laughing at you, but if you're listening to this, you're probably in this relationship where you're probably not being treated that great, or it's not meeting your standards, and you're worried that you're not going to be loved the same way as this other person, from this other person. No, baby girl, baby boy. No, that is far from the truth. It is far from the truth. And you have no idea on an energetic level when you leave something that is not serving you anymore. You have no idea how many fucking doors open up for you. Okay? And I'm talking about there's like going to be people that come into your life where you're like, oh, I'm going to tell you a story. I feel like I'm talking about myself a lot in this episode, but whatever. Sit up for this one. This is such a casual episode. So professional. Anyway. This is what it's like to actually talk to me. So, I was in... I feel like I refer to this relationship all the time. If he's listening. Hey. Take some of my water here. Yeah, okay, so I was in this relationship, and let me tell you, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of healing to do in that relationship, okay? I take accountability for that. I wasn't the healthiest. I wasn't in a good headspace. So there's that. There was a lot of lashing out. Sometimes lashing out was like valid. A lot of the times it was, but still, now where I'm at, I obviously wouldn't handle those situations like that anymore. But I was in this relationship and I felt very neglected. And it was really hard for me to leave because this person would tell me like, oh, you think anybody else is going to put up with your shit? And that made me feel like I wasn't ever going to be loved again by anybody. And I know it sounds fucked up because it just doesn't make any sense, right? No matter who you are, like there's always opportunity, one, for you to change your life, but there's always opportunity for love. There's always opportunity for somebody to love you. And I truly believe that because I believe that we've all come from a higher being. We've all come from God. And we're actually all built of love, even though this world seems really fucked up right now, as it is. But a lot of people have a lot of love in them, and there's a lot of really good people out there. And so how would that even make any sense? And at the time, I didn't see it as that. I saw it as, this is the only person for me. I was pushing to get married. It was just like, I'm glad I can laugh at it now, but I was not laughing when I was in it. I was like a fucking mess. A hot mess. And I stayed in it for way too long. We would break up, we would get back together. We'd break up, we would get back together. And it was really toxic. And like I said, I take accountability for my role in it being toxic. And just so many of the things that were said to me in that relationship and done to me, it really fucked with me. And it made me feel like, it just made me feel that I couldn't find anybody, right? Okay, so fast forward. I find someone. And I'm thinking, and this was shortly after, okay? And I'm thinking that I'm not lovable. I'm thinking that it's not possible that I could be treated better than my last relationship, which I wasn't even treated that good. It's just so ironic. Isn't it ironic? If you guys don't know me, I break out in song, in dance. I am an artist. Just get used to it. Anyway, so what was I talking about? Okay, yeah, so I meet this guy. And I didn't even date him for that long, but he left a fucking impression on me because he treated me better than my ex in this short amount of time that we were together. And I was with my ex for, I don't know, I think 3 years. And I genuinely couldn't believe it. That's probably another reason why the relationship didn't work out, because I was like not in the space to receive it. Personally, I'm not saying that happens to everybody, but yeah, I was just like, this is not real. This guy became my boyfriend after, and he lived really far from me. And I remember I fucked up my knee. My sister and I, we were at her mother-in-law's house. Okay, I'm jumping from story to story. But my sister and I were at her mother-in-law's house, and I was like begging her to jump on the trampoline with me. Her mother-in-law has this big land, and there's like a trampoline. And I was like, Amelia, come on the fucking trampoline with me. And she's no. She didn't want to. And I was like, bitch, fucking come with me. I dragged her on this trampoline, so she came with me. And we were laughing. We have a video. This video is so fun. But we were laughing our asses off because Amelia, if you guys don't know Amelia, she enjoys bullying me. And she's jumping so hard on the trampoline. Like, full jumping so hard so that it would send me high up. And I tried to land on my feet. And I don't know what I did, but I fucked my knee up so badly. I tried to get off the trampoline, and I'm like, yo, bitch. I'm like, fucking help me. I'm like, because I can't move. I can't walk. She's, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, I cannot move. I had to go to the hospital that night. And my man at the time, he lived 2.5 hours away from me. And he's, where are you? And I was like, yo, I gotta go to the hospital. I fucked up my knee. And you're like, how? I'm like, I was jumping on a trampoline. And he's like, okay, I'm coming to get you. I'm gonna come take you. I was like, what? Yeah, I'm coming to take you. I'm like, yo, you live 2 hours away. It's okay. My mom can come for me. And he's, okay, get her to drop you at the hospital, and I'm gonna meet you there. And I was like, all right. So my mom dropped me at the hospital. My mom didn't want to leave me either. And I was like, no, my boyfriend's coming. So he came, and he spent the whole time with me at the hospital and drove me back home. And then he went back home. This guy drove back home. And obviously he didn't have to, but he wanted to go back home, obviously. People like having their beds. I'm definitely one of those people now. So he goes home, and I'm literally like, I'm like in awe of, whoa, my guy just drove 2.5 hours away to take me to the hospital, and I had trouble. I had challenges getting my ex, who was 10 minutes away, to spend some time with me. To surprise me at work, because that's what my ex used to surprise me and do really cute things. He would surprise me at work. He used to work at this restaurant. He would come and surprise me at the beginning of our relationship, and then he stopped. And so that's another thing too, is if you're in a relationship where you're feeling like it's not the same as it was when it first started, a lot of the times sometimes it's not because of the time that's passed, but it's because there's certain things that people stop doing in relationships because they become complacent and comfortable. You can't just give up on someone when you have them. You have to continue to show them your appreciation. That's how your relationship grows and stays and builds longevity. Because you can't just build trust in the beginning and then it's like, okay, that's it now. No. You're a human being and you deserve to be loved on and nurtured throughout life. That's if you have a kid, maybe don't, maybe do. That's like birthing your kid and then just saying, oh, I'm not a parent anymore after this age. That's not how it works. You're going to be a parent for the rest of their life, right? Oh, I'm sorry. So, look, I shared that story about my exes is because I didn't think life could get any better after my ex, and it sure as hell fucking did. Let me tell you. After both of them too, like the hospital guy. He didn't work at the hospital, by the way. He just took me to the hospital, but we're gonna call him the hospital guy. We ended our relationship. He broke up with me, and I was just like fucking devastated, absolutely devastated. I could not believe it. I was like, oh my god, I thought my world was fucking ending, and it felt like that. Truly, it felt like my world was ending, and it took a really long time for me to move past it, because I had a lot of like guilt and shame around certain behaviors and just like how I showed up in the relationship. I was like, oh man, like I had like just gotten out of an unhealthy relationship, and I was bringing like the toxic fragments of that into our relationship. And he wasn't perfect either, but he was really good to me. That's a relationship I will never ever forget. And because of that, like it showed me, wow, like there's a lot of things that he would do for me and that he showed me, and I'm like, I really want that in my marriage. I really want that in my long-term relationship, because it was one of the only times that I like actually felt safe and loved. And I wouldn't have experienced that if I didn't leave the relationship that I thought I was like supposed to be marrying. I thought I was going to marry that guy. And I'm grateful that I didn't. I'm grateful that both of those relationships ended, because now I live in Mexico. I run my own business. I have a really beautiful fucking life. And I wouldn't have done any of that if I was in any of those relationships. I just wouldn't have. I know I wouldn't have. My life would have looked very different. And it would have been beautiful still if I created a family earlier on. Like that would have been beautiful too. But that wasn't what my destiny was. And this is why I'm sharing this with you, is because like you literally don't know what you're destined for, but you're deciding that already for yourself. And that's where like the control piece of, okay, you got to decide like what you're in control of and what you're not. And whatever you're not in control of, you have to give that up to God. You have to give that up to God and surrender it. And sometimes surrender is such a fluffy word. And sometimes surrender can be really fucking painful, because you're not in control. You are just trusting. You're blindly trusting in faith. You're blindly trusting in God. And those are things that you can't necessarily see. And sometimes you might even feel disconnected from it. And that's okay. Sometimes those things that you can't see, and even that disconnection part, is a part of learning how to trust yourself again. It's a part of learning how to trust God again. It's a part of learning how to trust your experiences are happening for you. My love, I know where you're probably at right now, where you feel like it just feels impossible to leave. It feels like your world is never going to be the same again. And your world won't be the same again. And I can tell you, no matter what the situation is, you are going to be more than fucking okay after. Because when you get yourself out of that fucking murky energy of that relationship that's, like I said, past the expiry date, you're going to see how your energy changes, because you're not flooded with lower energetic emotions, or just in an environment that is not benefiting you. It's not pouring into you. And when you get yourself out of that, you disconnect from it and you're like physically out of it, energetically out of it, you start to see things for what they are. Like, do you know how many, I've been in a lot of relationships. You know how many relationships I look back at and I was just like, what the fuck was I thinking? What was I doing? What was I doing? Because I would never catch myself in that right now. But that's the thing, is I needed to go through that to be able to say that today. And you are going through what you're going through right now so that you can get to where you need to be, to look back and be like, whoa, never again. There's just always a lesson. And the lesson is not there to punish you. It is there to build on your character. It is there to show you and push you in the right ways, okay? Not in a forceful way, but in a way that's like almost like a motivator to want better for yourself. Because when we are not treated well, or we stay in things where we're not being treated well, there's anger that comes up. And what anger says about ourselves is, like, again, your anger is not bad. Your anger is not bad. It's not wrong. It is actually signaling to you that a boundary has been crossed. You've been violated. You've been disrespected. And that is why anger shows up. And so there are emotions like anger, resentment, sadness, reaching that rock bottom that actually push us to show us, hey, something needs to change because this is not it. And you are not going to be the person that stays in the relationship and stays angry and lets it fester. And then you become really bitter when you're older, or as the years go on, or you start to develop. Sometimes when certain emotions come up and they're not actually felt or dealt with properly, it can manifest as like stress and sickness. And I don't wish that on anybody. But that is how our body works. When we are under a lot of stress, that's just how it works sometimes. And that's what you need to think about too, is your health. Okay? If you're staying in something that's no longer serving you, is this benefiting your health, or is it making you sicker and you don't know it yet? You got to think about that, because there is absolutely nothing on this earth, nothing, that is worth sacrificing your health. You need to be okay for you. If you have dependents, you got to be okay for your dependents. And your health is one of the biggest luxuries and one of the biggest things that we all take advantage of. And we think, oh, that might have to do with eating well or exercise. And yes, all of those things. Y'all, if you guys know me, you know I'm all about that shit. But I'm also about fucking doing the inner healing work, because that, if you could be eating well, you can be going to the gym. And if you're staying in unhealthy environments or environments that are harming you on an emotionally, energetic, or physical level, the eating healthy and the gym, yes, they're going to be helpful, but that is not going to prevent what's happening in your internal world mentally, but also your internal biological world, the way your cells are producing, the way your nervous system is operating, the way your immune system is operating, all of the systems on the inside of your body. Almost all of them are connected back to your stress levels. So you got to think about this. Is staying in this going to benefit your health? You know how many people who have left relationships, lost the weight, cured their illness, That's not a coincidence. Okay? And so, if you are worried about starting over again, I want you to ask yourself, is it worth, is the cost of staying in this, is the cost of staying in this relationship that you know you're not supposed to be in, is it worth it? Is it worth your health? Is it worth sacrificing your health? Is it worth sacrificing your mental well-being? Okay? You got to get serious with yourself about this, because if not, you're going to have time pass you by and you're going to be way in too deep, and you're going to feel like it's going to feel worse in the future of, okay, I can't start over again. Some people go, I don't know, like 40, 50 years into their marriage and they're like, fuck, I knew I was supposed to leave so long ago. Now they're like financially dependent on each other and feeling like they don't have a choice. Don't let that be you. I see it happen all the time. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy to leave situations, okay? It isn't easy. But it's also not easy to stay in situations. So you have to choose your heart. I promise you that you, wherever you're at, doesn't matter your age, doesn't matter, none of it matters, okay? Your circumstances are valid, and I understand that. But if we actually just relate this back to health, that is the only thing that we should be focusing on, is your health in all aspects. And I promise you that you can start over, that you can create a whole new different fucking life. Okay? Look at me, I did it. One of my clients the other day, we were at the end of our session and I was like emotional because I have just seen her completely change her life around. I've seen her grow into, she was always wonderful and so lovely. We have a beautiful connection. But seeing somebody progress in their healing journey and they find a healthy partner, they set boundaries, they're just doing all the things, they have their own place with their partner, and when I see the progress of people, where they were at to where they are now, a lot of the reason why is because they've had to leave situations. They've had to leave specific situations to get to where they are today. And you have to be willing to do that. And you can't get mad if you're in the same situation and you're not seeing changes, because you're not willing to look at the darker truths of what's actually happening. So you gotta choose your heart. And I know it's not easy. Okay. I believe in you. Okay, if you're wanting to leave a situation, whether it be a friendship or relationship, maybe it's certain family dynamics. If you truly feel in your heart that this is not for you and you're scared to start over again, I promise you that if you don't give up on yourself and you don't give up on that feeling in your heart that is telling you it's not supposed to be like this, you're meant for more. I need you to listen to that. I need you to listen to that, because that isn't just you making something up. That is the voice of God. That is the voice of your intuition. That is something beyond your human self telling you. It is a specific intuitional intelligence, specific emotional intelligence that is living within you, that is trying to communicate to you that there is something better, but it needs your human body, it needs your human mind to take that action. And we all have free will in this. And so you get to decide. If you're needing support in that, this is one of the areas that I fucking excel in with myself, with my clients. Been through it all. And that's why I really know how to support people in this, because I really just have been through it all. Trust me. I may not share all of it all the time, but yeah, it's been a long journey for me. And this is exactly why I do the work that I do, because I know what it's like on the other side, leaving hard relationships, setting boundaries, being single, okay? I know. I know what it's like to leave an abusive relationship. I know what it's like to be, I don't know. I've just been through it all. I don't want to list everything off. But if you are needing support and you're like, I don't know where to start, and you don't want to do it on your own, you shouldn't have to do it on your own. I know I didn't. I did not do this on my own. I had lots of support. Therapists, mentors, coaches, naturopaths. Shout out to my naturopath, Daniela. I fucking love her, okay? It's crazy. She's helped me through so much, and then she became my client as well too. And then I was her mentor, and just our paths, I don't know, we're soul sisters. Shout out to Danny. Te quiero muchísimo, hermosa. All right, guys. If you want to change your life, sign up for my one-on-ones. Promise you, you're going to fucking experience a transformation. You're going to experience a transformation. So DM me, email me. You can hit me up on my IG at iam.samanthagilhooly. Samantha Gilhooly. And can you guys tell I'm like so tired and giddy? You know, like a child who's just so tired and they're like giggly and cute and laughing. I am a child who is giggly, cute, and laughing right now because I am so tired. What time is it? Oh my god. I gotta go to bed. I feel like I say this in every episode because I'm always recording at night. I'm always recording on a Friday night. Oh boy. Okay. I love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And whatever you're going through, I believe that you're going to get yourself on the other side of it. Okay? You got it. You got this. Okay? And I believe in you. Love you. Have a good rest of your day, good night, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this or listening to this. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.